Two developers, same age, same years of experience, same language, Python. One makes 95K, the other makes 240K. I used to think that gap was about talent or connections or luck. It's not. It's 6 characters on a resume. And I know this because I was on the wrong side of that gap for longer than I want to admit. I was writing good code, shipping projects, doing everything right, and watching people with less experience get offers I couldn't even get interviews for. It took me a while to figure out what I was missing, and when I did, it honestly bothered me because it meant the effort wasn't wasted, but it wasn't enough. I pulled salary data from over 200 real job postings to prove what I'm about to show you, and the pattern is so clear it's almost offensive. If you're deciding what to learn next, or worse, if you've been investing months in the wrong thing, this is the video that saves you from that. Most videos about high-paying skills do the same thing. Google Top Programming Languages 2026, read a listicle, rank them. That tells you nothing because it's not the language that determines salary, it's the combination. So I went through over 200 job postings on LinkedIn, Indeed, and Levels.fyi. Not what languages they list, what skill combinations pay the most. And what I found splits cleanly into 3 tiers. Tier 1, the 200K plus combinations the market is desperate for. Tier 2, solid, stable, good money. And Tier 3, skills that used to be enough on their own and aren't anymore. But before we go, the distance between Tier 3 and Tier 1 is shorter than you think. Often it's one skill, one. That's the thing I wish someone had told me 2 years earlier. Let's start at the top. This is the combination companies will pay almost anything for. And the reason is simple. AI can't do it. AI can generate code. It can write functions, scaffold entire apps, but it cannot look at a system that needs to serve 2 million users across 3 continents and decide whether to use a message queue or a direct API call. Should you cache at the edge or at the database layer? Is this a microservices problem or are you overcomplicating it? Those are judgment calls, and judgment is the one thing language models don't have. Salary range 180K to 280K, depending on company and location. And this is exactly why those 2 developers from the beginning have different salaries. One of them can design systems. The other can only build what someone else designed. That difference alone explains most of the gap. Let me be specific about what this means, because AI skills is the most diluted phrase in tech right now. This is not, I can prompt ChatGPT. This is, can you fine-tune a large language model? Can you build a RAG system that works in production? Not a demo, not a tutorial, a real system that handles edge cases and doesn't hallucinate when it matters. The demand grew 74% year over year. I covered that in the last video. But the salary premium, 30 to 50% above generalists with the same experience, exists because the supply of people who can do this in production is tiny. Most people who say, I know AI, mean they've called the API. Companies paying 200K plus need people who understand what happens behind the API. So, if you've been using ChatGPT or Claude for your own projects, you're closer to this than you think. The gap between I use AI tools and I build AI-powered products is real, but crossable. More on that in a minute. Here's a number I want you to do the math on. AI-generated code has 2.74 times more vulnerabilities than human-written code, and 41% of new code is now AI-generated. You see where this goes. Therefore, the demand for people who can find and fix security problems in code that machines wrote is exploding, and it won't slow down. The more companies lean on AI for generation, the more they need humans for verification. SAST, DAST, threat modeling, secure code review of AI output, penetration testing. Salary range, 170K to 250K. One of the few fields where saying no, this isn't safe, is literally what gets you paid. And notice the pattern. The security engineer isn't writing more code than anyone else. She's making better decisions about code. That keeps showing up. Your boss walks in and says, I need the AI to work for the whole team. 40 people. You have a month. What do? It's not prompt engineering. It's something most people don't know exists yet. Prompt engineering was 2023's buzzword, already dated. What replaced it is context engineering, designing the entire system of context that AI uses. What data to feed it, how to structure it, how to verify the output, how to integrate AI into workflows so it works reliably when you're not in the room. This includes things like building MCP servers, the Model Context Protocol that's becoming the standard for connecting AI to real tools and data. If you haven't heard of MCP yet, you will. It's the plumbing behind the next wave of AI integration.
Companies paying 150K to 220K for this don't want someone who can chat with ChatGPT. They want someone who can build an AI-augmented system that their whole team depends on, and that keeps working when the person who built it goes on vacation. But before you start ranking these in your head, I need to show you the other side of this data, because the gap between Tier 1 and what comes next is where the real story lives.
I want to be honest about something. This section was hard to write because I'm describing where I was not that long ago. I know Python. The problem isn't that you know Python. The problem is that millions of other people also know Python. And now, so does an AI. 110,000 CS graduates per year, boot camp grads on top of that, self-taught devs on top of that, plus every AI tool that writes Python faster than any human alive. I know Python on a resume in 2026 is like, I know how to use email in 2006. It's assumed, not rewarded. Basic CRUD development, REST endpoints, forms, standard web apps. AI generates this in seconds. Simple scripting and automation, moving files, parsing CSVs, sending emails. One prompt. Generic full stack without depth. A little front end, a little back end, a little database. The market stopped rewarding breadth. It rewards depth plus one adjacent skill. Here's the brutal version. If your value is writing code that already has a clear known answer, that's not a competitive advantage anymore. That's the first thing a company tries to automate. But none of these skills are useless. They're foundations. The difference between Tier 3 and Tier 1 isn't starting over. It's building one thing on top of what you already have. And when I realized that, it changed how I saw everything. Because I'd been treating my Python skills as the product. They were always just the raw material. Remember those two developers from the beginning? Same age, same experience, same base language. Here's what separates them. And when I finished building this analysis, I need to be honest, it bothered me. Because it meant that all the effort I'd put in, all the projects, the late nights, none of it was wrong, but it wasn't enough. The thing that was missing was so specific, so concrete that it almost felt unfair. Let me show you. Look at that gap. Python alone, 80K to 120K. Python plus AI, 180K to 300K. Same base language, same person, could be on either end. The difference is one skill addition. Remember the 6 characters? Look at the resume on the right. Plus ML/AI. 6 characters. That's the gap between 95K and 240K. And this is the part that hit me when I was building this chart. The X doesn't have to be AI. Look at the middle of that graph. Python plus cloud, 150K plus. Python plus data engineering, 140K plus. Python plus security, 160K plus. Every single combination pays significantly more than Python alone. The worst thing you can do right now isn't picking the wrong X. It's not picking one at all. Staying in I know Python territory while the gap widens every month. But here's the question I know you're asking, because it's the one that kept me stuck for months. Which X should I pick? And I'm not going to give you a generic answer, because a generic answer is how people waste 6 months learning the wrong thing. That's not a hypothetical. Choosing wrong here costs you 3 to 6 months of focused effort pointed at something that doesn't move your salary or your career. That's real time you don't get back. So later in the series, I built a 90-day plan with 3 specific paths: data engineering, ML/AI engineering, and backend/platform engineering, with exact tools, exact projects, and weekly milestones for each one. That's where this stops being a chart and starts being a daily plan. I want to zoom out because there's a pattern here that matters more than any individual skill or salary number. Every Tier 1 combination has one thing in common. It's not a technology, it's not a framework, it's judgment. But not judgment in the abstract. Let me show you what I mean. A request comes in. Do you cache it at the edge or at the database layer? If you cache at the edge, you reduce latency, but you risk serving stale data. If you cache at the DB, you keep consistency, but every user hits the same bottleneck. There's no universally correct answer. There's only a better answer for this specific system with this specific traffic pattern at this specific scale. That's judgment. System design pays because it requires judgment about trade-offs. Security pays because it requires judgment about risk. Is this vulnerability critical or noise? AI engineering pays because it requires judgment about reliability. Do I trust this model's output or out of verification step? Context engineering pays because it requires judgment about integration. How do I make this tool work for 40 people who aren't engineers? The skills that got commoditized, CRUD, scripting, basic automation, don't require judgment. They're execution, and execution is exactly what AI does better than humans.
Therefore, the real question isn't what language should I learn, it's where am I developing judgment that AI can't replicate. If you're building things where you make decisions that don't have obvious right answers, you're on the right side of the split. If you're doing work where the correct approach is always clear and you just need to type it out, that's the work that's disappearing. And this connects directly to the last video, the market split, two lines diverging. This is the mechanism behind that split. Tier 1 skills are on the line going up. Tier 3 skills alone are on the line going down. The salary data just makes the invisible visible. But the salary data doesn't show how people actually get from one side to the other when nobody will hire them to get the experience. You need AI or cloud experience to get the job, but you need the job to get the experience. That's the paradox. In the next video, I break down exactly why junior positions disappeared and 5 strategies that are working right now for people breaking through that wall, including approaches that have nothing to do with applying to jobs at all.
It took me longer than it should have to understand this, because it's uncomfortable to accept that the problem wasn't the market being unfair. It was that I was competing in a category that was shrinking, and I didn't even know the other category existed. If you're looking at this data and feeling overwhelmed, that's the wrong lesson. The gap between Tier 3 and Tier 1 isn't talent. It isn't years of experience. It's one focused skill addition on top of what you already know. And with AI coding tools now, the time to build that skill compressed from years to months. But choosing to wait, that's not neutral. The market doesn't pause while you decide. The market didn't leave you behind, it moved, and now you know exactly where it went. This video showed you what the market pays for. The last one showed you why it split. If you haven't seen that, it's the foundation that makes everything today make sense. It's on screen right now. And if you know a developer who's been grinding on Python for months, sending out applications, wondering why nothing's landing, send them this. Sometimes the most useful thing is showing someone